second-tier cities in China, visiting a doctor at major hospitals can sometimes be exhausting. One often has to maneuver through crowds to get around in big hospitals where various medical functions are scattered in different corners of the premise. Long queues and not enough seats to rest on in waiting rooms just add to the fatigue. But architects for today's modern hospitals are innovatively addressing these pains, putting humans at the center of architectural design. Hello, I'm Meng Jianmin. In this edition of Footprints, we are going to make our acquaintance with Meng Jianmin, a celebrated architect who has been doing just that, making hospital visits a more pleasant experience for patients while improving work efficiency and comfort for medical staff at the same time. Imagine this. You have an appointment with a doctor in a hospital. You emerge from the subway and the hospital's entrance is right there in plain sight. Walking along a wide passageway on the central axis of the hospital, which is called the hospital street, in no time you are at the center of the hospital, where the outpatient building, inpatient and medical checkup centers are all within easy reach. If you come a bit early for the appointment, you can find a coffee shop on the hospital street and sip your coffee while waiting, or even have a meal in a restaurant if you feel a bit peckish. Alternatively, you can get some fresh air in a sunken garden within the premises and relax among the lush green plants. These are just some real-life scenarios at the University of Hong Kong Shenzhen Hospital, which opened to public a couple of years ago. The architect behind the hospital's design is Meng Jianmin. The people-centered care and hospital street feature he infused in the design of the hospital have brought the architecture wide acclaim.
这个医院街原来呢就是门诊、医技。
Hospital Street originally served as the main artery connecting the three main functions of a hospital, namely the outpatient department, medical technology, and the wards. Today, we also bring in various commercial services, such as coffee shops and florists to the street to cater to patients, staff members, and visitors.
Typically, a hospital street is a central street within a hospital that links together different medical units, separate wings or building blocks. It is commonly seen in large healthcare premises designed to separate hospital traffic from logistics and simplify navigation for staff, patients, and visitors. The HKU Shenzhen Hospital was not the first one where Meng Jianmin brought in the hospital street concept. His first application of the idea was with another major hospital in Zhangjiagang in Jiangsu province. Meng Jianmin is a seasoned architect who has been pioneering design and engineering practice for more than 4 decades. He has designed many public architecture projects, a fair share of which were larger hospitals. In 1991, Meng Jianmin was assigned by China's Southeast University to jointly undertake a project together with Shenzhen University. At that time, China's reform and opening up policy was making Shenzhen an economic vanguard in the south. It also marked the beginning of nationwide real estate development tide. New buildings mushroomed in Shenzhen to accommodate people arriving from all over the country.
当时就是感觉整个深圳就是一个改革开放
At that time, Shenzhen felt like a pioneer city of the country's reform and opening up. Every sector was in a state of bold innovation, experimentation, and trial and error. The city was full of vitality. I worked tirelessly during that time, neglecting all the telltale signs of physical exhaustion entirely. I overworked myself for a year and a half until my health faltered. I was even hospitalized. While at the inpatient ward, my brain played with the idea of how a hospital's overall environment could be designed to be more human-centered and more considerate of visitors' needs.
That quote-unquote fortunate illness gave Meng some insight into what patients really need while paying hospital visits. It also allowed him to have a closer observation from an architect's perspective on how a hospital could work better for both patients and all those who work there. These thoughts would shape the core of his later design concept, which is to make architectural design human-centered. In 1997, Meng Jianmin was appointed the vice president of the Shenzhen General Institute of Architectural Design and Research Company. He gathered a group of young architects and set up an architectural studio. They gradually built up their reputation in the industry through a series of praiseworthy design works. In 2003, his studio won the bid to design the first People's Hospital of Zhangjiagang City, Jiangsu Province, which was to be relocated to a new site. Meng Jianmin was appointed the chief architect for the project's architectural design. This hospital was to be a tertiary comprehensive hospital integrating medical treatment, teaching, scientific research, disease prevention, and healthcare. The primary challenge faced by Meng Jianmin was to guarantee hospital work efficiency through his design, the key to which lay with a reasonable layout of various medical units.
医疗建筑是所有的这个公共文化这个民用建筑里面
Medical buildings are the most challenging of all public building designs of civic or cultural nature. If an architect can design hospital buildings well, he can pretty much handle all other types of architectural functions with ease. Initially, we went along with a rectangular building layout during the creative stage, but 15 days before the deadline, we overturned the original design. Instead, we adopted a circular layout and connected all the functions of the hospital through a hospital street. This plan addressed all our concerns.
Meng Jianmin boldly innovated by realigning the hospital's medical units and departments into a circular layout. It guarantees a short and easy access for all units, which effectively improved the hospital's workflow. He ensured that the work of each department was well coordinated while remaining free from disturbance from one another. For patients, the medical route around the hospital was also shortened. Xin Lihua, director of the Shenzhen General Institute of Architectural Design and Research Company, reviewed the Zhangjiagang Hospital project design with the team.
We wanted the hospital street to be easily accessible for all, whether they are the outpatients, doctors and nurses, medical technicians, administrative staff, researchers, or logistic personnel. From the hospital street, they can quickly get back to their own functional units. Through the introduction of the concept of a hospital street, or medical city as some like to call it, we have helped greatly improve the efficiency of the hospital.
The first People's Hospital of Zhangjiagang City covers an area of 120,000 square meters and needed to accommodate more than 2,000 employees from various departments. Meng Jianmin wanted to infuse warm humanistic care into the architecture. He and his team made sure the needs of different groups of people were well taken care of from the very start.
Hospitals gather together people of all kinds, and their needs are many and varied. Take the logistics support staff, cleaners and security guards, for example. When they need to take a break, they often make do with whatever corner they can find in the hospital. We hoped to take into consideration the needs of this group of people in our hospital design and allocate some space for them too. We can't just turn a blind eye to their needs. In the same way, we sought to address the needs of people with disabilities, the elderly and the vulnerable. A hospital can not only serve the majority.
In his design, there were wards with different functions. Single consultation rooms were added for special patients, and non-medical space was created to allow medical staff and logistics personnel to have their own rest spaces. Meanwhile, spaces for a refreshing view of greenery were created in the hospital to provide patients with a comfortable medical environment. People-centered care, embodied in the first People's Hospital of Zhangjiagang City project, garnered the architect his first major award, the Excellence Award at the 6th China Architecture Society Architectural Creation Award in 2011. Following this success, Meng's studio saw more hospital projects flood in, including the University of Hong Kong Shenzhen Hospital project. Opened in 2012, the HKU Shenzhen Hospital is a large-scale medical complex in the southern economic powerhouse of Shenzhen, with more than 2,000 beds. Under Meng's design, the hospital breaks through the limitations of traditional hospitals by integrating the concept of a medical district into an urban space and eliminates the boundaries between the hospital and the city. But its design process was full of challenges, which inspired many bold and creative designs from the architect. The HKU Shenzhen Hospital sits to the south of a residential community. To ensure the hospital complex does not block the sunlight for the residential area, urban planning authorities capped the height of the hospital buildings to a maximum of 30 meters, with some buildings required to be no taller than 20 meters. Meanwhile, the hospital is adjacent to a busy coastal avenue on the south. While the view is beautiful, the question of how to reduce the traffic noise impact on the inpatient area became a task for the architect.
这个建筑师往往是在一些压力面前，或者是限定条件很多的情况下呢。
Architects are often motivated to become more creative when they are under pressure to design with a framework of multiple preset conditions. When we were working on the HKU Shenzhen Hospital project, the biggest challenge was how to create a construction volume that could accommodate 2,000 beds within strict preset construction limits. It wouldn't be a problem if we were free to design tall buildings. The reality was, buildings in the area were limited to 30 meters tall maximum. With this height limit, it was super challenging to create the required amount of in-house space.
Double squeezed by the demand for more usable space and a building height limit, Meng Jianmin decided to dig into the underground. He placed the hospital's non-direct medical functions and other support facilities all below the surface. The above-ground space was prioritized for wards and clinics. This approach effectively expanded the usable space of the hospital, but put a lot of pressure on ventilation and lighting, especially in the underground area. Meng Jianmin's team went to great lengths to analyze the city's year-round shifts in wind direction and solar angles. Shenzhen sits to the south of the Tropic of Cancer. The city receives consistent high-intensity sunlight all year round. Meng Jianmin decided to make use of the abundant natural sunlight. He came up with the idea of creating a sunken garden and having all the underground rooms and facilities connected to the garden through windows. That would allow fresh air and sunlight to come in.
For people using the basement facilities, we wanted to guarantee that they too could have a good environment. Our solution was to create courtyards to ensure good ventilation and to let in the sunlight.
The sunken garden design also gives patients and visitors a comfortable environment with abundant greenery. Additionally, Meng diverted the vehicle drop-off spot to the underground, right in front of the emergency and accident department. This smart arrangement serves two purposes. It ensures easy flow of traffic and the safety of visitors, and guarantees timely treatment for emergency patients. Xin Lihua, Meng's colleague and director of Shenzhen General Institute of Architectural Design and Research Company, was very supportive of this solution.
当时也是他首创提出了一个叫立体无风雨接。
Meng initiated the three-dimensional all-weather passenger pickup and drop-off transportation system. Under this system, all motor vehicles are diverted to the sunken garden area, and the surface ground is left solely to pedestrians. All the patients coming to the hospital by motor vehicles are dropped off at the sunken garden area. An additional advantage of that is, even if it rains outside, patients can still get out of their car clean and dry. This system has greatly enhanced people's hospital experience.
The The hospital street concept has been Meng's trademark solution for aligning different hospital units to optimize medical spaces, improve hospital workflow, and to streamline patient pathways. The hospital street inside the HKU Shenzhen Hospital starts from the arc-shaped hall and runs through the entire facility, flanked by different medical buildings on both sides. The brightly lit street is decorated with greenery, with banks, flower shops, cafes, and electric scooter stations around it. This everyday scene breaks the cold image traditionally associated with medical facilities. Shenzhen is a tropical city, so ventilation and lighting of the 28-meter-wide hospital street became another challenge for Meng's team.
那么在做这个港大医院的时候，这个医院街当时面临一个问题。
With this project, we came across a big challenge when we were designing the hospital street. We had to decide whether to make the hospital street indoor or outdoor. This also concerned the fire safety issue, especially because this is a large building complex.
According to the architect, to place it indoors, the energy use would be very high. Plus, they also had to consider the fire evacuation distance. After much calculation, Meng decided to go with a type of natural ventilation caused by the difference in temperature between indoor and outdoor air. His colleague Xinli Hua says this approach significantly reduced the energy consumption in the hospital's daily operations.
我们当时呢，在这个创作的时候呢，就孟院士也提出了一个非常新。
Meng suggested we apply the principle of hot press ventilation to form a special system that can let the air circulate. Under this design, the entire hospital street is not a confined system anymore. All the sides of the tension film on the rooftop are open to the outside. The thermal radiation of the sun will cause the warm air to flow upward. Hospital buildings are a very energy-consuming building type. In a tropical city like Shenzhen, we have adopted a natural and low-carbon design approach that suits the local climate.
Meanwhile, by integrating the medical infrastructure and the nearby urban environment, Meng and his team have made the HKU Shenzhen Hospital an organic component of urban texture. The hospital's energy-efficient and people-oriented design has been well appreciated by both local patients and those from the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. For Meng Jianmin, that was mission accomplished.
建筑师呢，应该受2种极限状态下的训练。
Architects should be trained to design even under 2 extreme circumstances. One is to design within very strict preset condition, which tests an architect's creativity. The other extreme is to design with very broad or even no given boundaries, which also tests the architect's creativity and project control abilities. If an architect can perform well under extreme constraints and extremely broad conditions, then other general types of buildings won't be a problem for him at all.
You are listening to Footprints. Currently, Meng Jianmin and his team are working on the Shenzhen Bay Super Headquarters Base project. With a planned development area of about 5.2 million square meters, the grand project has been going on for some years. The base would be home to the headquarters of large companies and tech enterprises. Under the blueprint, construction of the base needs to meet a number of criteria. It should be appealing aesthetically, with a layout that can guarantee efficiency for business operations. Its architectural design should also be future-oriented to accommodate the city's super-fast development. When Meng Jianmin was invited to be the chief designer of the Shenzhen Bay Super Headquarters Base in 2018, he knew he would not be building just a complex of beautiful modern high-rises. Making the task more challenging for the architect, Meng was not given a totally clean sheet of drawing paper. An urban expressway, Binhai Avenue, had already been built in the area, along with a planned central green axis park that would crisscross the entire site. This meant the buildings in the complex would have to be scattered throughout the area. Without a genius solution, either the business efficiency of the complex or the beauty of the urban landscape in the area would have to be compromised. Yang Xu, colleague of Meng Jianmin and executive chief architect of Shenzhen Architectural Design and Research Institute Company, acknowledges that the challenge demands architects to think outside the box.
设计师的习惯呢，是用过往的经验去做未来的设计。
Habitually, architects have a tendency of drawing on past experience when designing new buildings, which is understandable. But in this day and age, when science and technology develop at lightning speed, if an architect still relies on past experience, he might as well find that upon the completion of his design, even before the construction is finished, his design concept has already become a thing of the past.
Urban planning for the Shenzhen Bay Super Headquarters base began as early as 2001. It had been through multiple adjustments. The functions of the base have gradually become more complex. Meng Jianmin's solution was a vertical city design strategy. A vertical city often features a high-density, multi-use skyscraper designed to accommodate more residents and working areas within one location. It's a space-saving solution. Meng realigned the area's different urban functions to both the underground and the surface ground. While pursuing the aesthetic beauty of the whole complex, he also made sure it meets the public needs and facilitates people's lives.
所以说，我们提出的口号就是说，站在未来，思考现在。
Our motto is to think ahead of the times. We now give a lot of attention to the development of smart cities and a future where unmanned modern logistics becomes reality. Take the low-altitude transportation as an example. Many aerial vehicles are actually flying over the space above urban streets. So, in your architectural design, you can simply consider the locations of common facilities on the surface of the street. You have got to take heed of where the aerial vehicles' communication network could be placed. So do their landing spots and base stations.
Architects of the past often focused primarily on building aesthetics and harmony in color and space in a designated urban area. According to Meng, the current emphasis of architectural design has expanded to a much wider and more comprehensive coverage, which includes not only urban aesthetics but also the coordinated integration of all related factors, such as municipal engineering, transportation, water systems, communication networks, etc.
过去很多建筑呢，高大上，看上去也很雄伟，也很漂亮，也很有特点。
Many buildings of the past looked magnificent, beautiful, and distinctive from the outside. But once you walk inside, there is neither ventilation nor natural lighting. People don't feel particularly comfortable inside. Sometimes you have to walk a long distance to find a lift. Some rooms are either too big or too small. These all work against efficiency. Buildings are meant for people to use. It should be designed in a way that people can use it conveniently.
He says humanistic care should be infused in architectural design. It encompasses accommodating people's needs, giving full consideration to human behavior and physical and emotional experience.
建筑师呢，是一个建设美好城市、美好建筑的一个重要的。
Architects play a vital role in making beautiful buildings and cities. Their sound architectural concept is an important prerequisite and guarantee for high-quality buildings and cities. A good mastery of architecture techniques, skills, and methods are tools to realize good ideas and concepts. I am for the idea that the core of original architecture design is to let the architectures serve people. Urban planning and design should be comprehensive, foresighted, and people-focused. Like playing chess, where players should have the foresight for the next 10 or 20 moves ahead. An architect should also contemplate the present design with a foresight for the future.
Upon completion, the Shenzhen Bay Super Headquarters base will become a model for future cities, integrating business headquarters and an international exchange center. For Meng Jianmin, the three elements of health, efficiency, and humanistic care will continue to guide his architectural designs. With that, we come to the end of this edition of Footprints. Thank you for your company. If you're interested in hearing more about the lives of ordinary but incredible people in China, follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Just key in Footprints and you can find more stories anytime, anywhere. I'm Meng Jianmin. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.